What is going on, guys? It's another episode of Shoot Your Shot. I'm your host, Napoleon Anicetti.
Val Rouser.
Hey, Coach Alex is a little sick today. Well, actually, that's not true. His son hurt his arm last night, so he's not here today with us. But today, we have a very special guest, okay? A former Nevada wrestling state champion, okay? A former Wildcat, University of Arizona, playing baseball over there, and also former major leaguer, Johnny Fields is in the house, guys.
Let's go, Johnny.
Yes, what's up,
Glad to have you in
what's
here.
up, man? Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Johnny, thanks for coming down. Dude, I wanted to have you on because it's always cool to have a former wrestler, but ended up choosing another sport, going to college, and choosing baseball. So talk a little bit about, let's start off with your family. You know, where your family's from, them being involved with sports, how you grew up playing sports. Talk a little bit about that.
Okay. So my dad's from Ohio, so he grew up football player, wrestling, and track. So never played baseball growing up. It's always football, wrestling are the two big sports for him. So he met my mom. My mom's from Chicago. They came out to Vegas, so that's where I was born and raised out here. And at a young age, he just pretty much got me into every sport. I started playing soccer when I was 3 or 4 years old, and then I started playing baseball and wrestling probably right around 8 or 9. And I think his thing was just put me in any sport and then kind of see what sticks for me the most.
Yeah.
And so he was never one of those. Both of my parents were never like, "Hey, you got to play just baseball, just soccer." Like they want you to play multiple sports, and I think that was the best thing for me in my athletic career was being exposed to many sports early on.
Right.
And then, like you said, once I feel like athletes nowadays feel like you got to pick a sport right off the bat and specialize in it. But I think what made me excel at baseball was the fact that I played football, I wrestled, and I did all these other sports, and it kind of everything translated for me. So, yeah, that's how it happened. My dad wrestled in Ohio. He placed, I think, third his senior year in the state of Ohio.
Okay.
And then he played football at Southern Illinois. But yeah, he got me starting with the wrestling background. He, around 8 or 9 years old, like I said, he got us into the Centennial Youth Program back then.
Okay.
And
How old are you when you started wrestling?
I think I was about 8 or 9.
8 or 9 years old?
Yeah, and just knew nothing about it. Like I said, I think he just wanted to throw my brother and I in to see how it'd be for us. And he started helping out because I guess the coach back in the day was a coach McGuire, I believe.
Okay.
And my dad's younger brother, Ron, he wrestled at Bonanza back in the day. He was a state champ.
Okay.
He was kind of around the Frank Mir time, a couple years after him, I think. So McGuire used to be the Bonanza coach, and he moved to Centennial. So my dad moved out here and got us into wrestling. He reached out to Coach McGuire. They had the youth program. So he started helping out with that. And then we met the Dolbys and some other people. And then we bounced around from Centennial.
Was Tommy wrestling at that time?
I think he started, we must have started the same time. I think so. He probably would have been we're 18 months apart. So he was probably 7 at the time.
All right, yeah.
And we bounced around. I think we went to Cimarron Youth Program. And then through wrestling, my dad kept coaching at the young age. That's when he got offered the Gorman job. Gorman Wrestling didn't have a wrestling program at the time.
Right.
I think Dolby reached out to my dad and was like, "Hey, wrestling wants to get brought back at Gorman. Would you be the head coach, start the program up?" And that's what led to me ultimately going to Gorman. If he didn't get offered that job, I probably would have ended up at Centennial, one of the public schools.
Yeah.
But him being the head coach allowed us to go there and then start that program up.
What do you think wrestling taught you going into baseball? And for those who don't know, Johnny, you ended up playing in the World Series for U of A, and then making it to the major league. So having those kind of big situations, playing in college, playing in the pros, how much did wrestling kind of play a part of any of that? Or if it didn't, what kind of part did wrestling play for that?
No, man, I think wrestling had everything to do with me getting there baseball-wise, to be honest. I tell a lot of people this, I think my dad, he always tells the story of when we first started wrestling, he thinks that's a really good test when you're a kid to kind of see what you're made of, kind of see if you got that eye of the tiger, whatever you want to call it,
Right.
where you know, when you're getting turned to your back, or you're just gonna cry and lay there and get pinned, or you're gonna fight to get off and show a little grit, show a little toughness through some adversity. And he said he kind of saw that in me at a young age, and so he's like, look, I know I can push him. Like,
right.
My brother, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but he knew he had to.
Tommy, we still love you. Tommy, we still love you.
He knew he had to coach him a different way than he coached me, right?
Yeah.
And so, but I think what wrestling teaches you is not just for sports, but just for like life. Like, I don't know if there's another sport that can prepare you for adversity and can prepare you to like develop a good work ethic and like this drive to want to be great. Like I kind of relate it to a lot of the David Goggins stuff where he talks about kind of callousing your mind. And it's like, you remember the early morning runs where you wake up at 5 a.m. and it's cold out and you're like, I just want to lay in bed. And you got that little inner sissy in your mind that's like, just go back to bed. It's like, no, I got to get my run in. It's like callousing your mind like that and just kind of toughening up, kind of everything translates for me. So then I get into baseball. It's like, I wouldn't feel pressure because it's like wrestling. It's one-on-one out there. You don't have someone to hold your hand. If you strike out, someone can pick you up. Like if you go and mess up on the mat and get pinned, that's it. No one's there to protect you. So that one-on-one competition really translated even when I got into the baseball field where it's like, I would get nervous before every single wrestling match. I don't know about you. I could
bro.
Still,
I could be wrestling. I could be wrestling a fish that I know is his first match ever. Right. And I have these little thoughts like, if I slip and get caught, if I get thrown and stuff, it's just gonna be embarrassing. So I would get nervous for every single and get those butterflies.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I get in the box in a baseball game and like I wouldn't feel that same sort of pressure. So I think that translated for the mental side of things where it's like, this is a walk in the park compared to like going out in front of a state championship match or a big match in a big tournament, the TOC, something like that. So I would say it definitely on the mental side was huge for me. Absolutely. Yeah. But even the physical side of the cross training of, you know, and I was lucky enough at high school to get exposed to the UFC and get to go to that gym and train with some fighters and go through these quick 45-hour long crazy workouts where it's like, I'm getting bigger, faster, stronger. Those workouts that are going to translate to baseball.
Yeah. What was the biggest moment of your baseball career? Like, is there a moment in your baseball career that you're like, that was the most fun, like, moment? Do you have one of those? What was that one?
Well, I mean, winning the College World Series in Omaha was, I mean, that's what you dream of doing, playing in college baseball. So it's like being with that group and dogpiling, knowing you're the national championship that you worked your whole life for, that whole offseason for. That was, in my amateur career, without a doubt, like the greatest experience I had. And then pro ball-wise, I would say either my first home run at Fenway Park, just kind of the history of going over the Green Monster, the big green wall. Yeah. And then my uncle was in town at the time for that from Chicago, so he got to witness that, and we went out afterwards.
Yeah, I bet that was so sick.
That was really cool because he
Is it crazy walking out there, bro, and just looking out and be like, holy shit, I'm in the middle?
Yeah, no, it's like I tell the story. There's all these like Boston movies, right, with like The Town and Fever Pitch and these movies, and so I remember in that game at Fenway, I think I was playing center field, and it was kind of cold, a little windy.
Who were you playing for?
The Rays at the time, Tampa Bay Rays, yeah. And so it's kind of a rivalry game against the Red Sox, and I think David Price was pitching at the time for the Red Sox, and I was playing center field, and I remember the 7th inning stretch comes around, bottom of 7th, they're coming up to hit, so we're playing catch in between innings, warming up, and all of a sudden, that's every game of the 7th inning stretch, they play Sweet Caroline.
Yeah.
And that's the thing in Fenway where it's like everyone in the stands like, bah, bah, bah. And I just remember like for a moment just looking around and like just feeling so just like, holy shit, like this is happening right now. Like I've seen this in movies before. I've seen like in Fever Pitch, like everyone's singing. It just was one of those like awakening moments to me where I was just like very grateful. And I'm like, dude, what is going on right now? This is insane. So that definitely stands out. And then growing up, my mom's from Chicago, so I grew up a big White Sox fan. So anytime the White Sox would travel to California, like go play the Angels, we'd drive up, stay at the same hotel the White Sox were staying at. I'd sit down in the lobby, try to get autographs when they'd come down.
That's tight.
We'd go to the games, go to batting practice. And so when we played the Angels with the Rays, I went up to that 4-game series, and I had a really good series. I think I hit 2 home runs. And then the last day, Sunday, was the best game I had in my big league career against Ohtani.
Oh, shit, okay.
That was Ohtani's rookie year with the Angels, and hit a home run and a ground rule double off him the same game. And my dad was
Damn,
there.
that's sick.
Hyped, losing it.
I know. So my dad was there, my brother was there. And so just it all coming back full circle of like remembering always going to that stadium, watching as a kid, watching as a fan, to then go play on it, have some success with my friends and family there.
Yeah.
So those are probably the 2 that stand out the most from the professional side of things.
That's it.
When you were in high school, did you have like obviously when you're playing sports like that, everyone wants to go professional, but like, did you ever like think that was possible for you?
Yeah, I mean, I played football my freshman year, so I did all 3, and then my sophomore year, I kind of got talked into giving up football to play scout baseball in the fall with a wood bat, and was told that like, if you do this, you'll have a better chance to get drafted. And football is a good football player, but I wasn't going to ever run a 4.5, 4.40 and be a big-time D1 guy. And in my size, it's like maybe could have got to a smaller D1, but I knew that wasn't going to be my ticket. I know I always knew baseball was going to probably be the ticket, but I loved wrestling. I was never going to give up wrestling. And I had some schools on the West Coast that were giving me letters for baseball and wrestling, and a little part of me considered trying to do both in college, but
The Deion Sanders of wrestling and baseball, son? That would have been crazy.
I know, but like I was then.
Yo, real quick.
No offense against wrestling, but like I did not want to do the weight cutting.
Oh yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, bro.
You got to, because if you want to be a good college wrestler, it's a full commitment. You can't party, you can't eat like crap and expect to perform on the mat. And I knew with the baseball, I was like, I don't know, man. I'm focused on baseball. See if I can make some money.
Wrestling is hard.
It's really hard. I think it's the hardest sport there is. I mean, I've done 4 or 5 different sports at one point, and it's like you have to have a certain. You almost have to be a little messed up in the head.
Oh yeah,
you have to have a screw loose, and you gotta really enjoy it.
Are there any other major leaguers that have had the caliber of wrestling? Because for those who don't know how good Johnny was, you were one or 2-time state champ.
Placed 3 times, won it once. I took
won it once,
first, second, and fourth.
And then how did you do at like the bigger tournaments? I know Gorman always went to bigger tournaments.
Yeah, I won the TOC my senior year.
So you won the TOC.
Yeah, so I think I finished like honorable mention All-American that year just because I won that. That was supposed to be the toughest.
Yeah.
Then we went to the Ironman, and I lost in the semis in overtime to the dude that won it all from Mount Carmel, Illinois.
Arguably probably the toughest high
school tournament in the country.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Are there any other baseball players that have any idea of a wrestling pedigree that you have?
I mean, I don't think so. I met one kid that he was actually my locker mate with the Rays. His name was Joey Wendell. He's from Pennsylvania.
All right.
And he said he wrestled in high school, and I believed him because that dude has some forearms like this.
Yeah.
You know, there's certain, he didn't have the cauliflower, but there's certain little markers you can see on a dude. You know, he wrestles.
Yeah.
And then we would mess around and hand fight a little bit. So I knew he wrestled.
There we go.
I don't know how good he was, but
I'm sure you had to go takedowns a little bit one time on the field.
There's always like
there's
always the friends that are like, oh, you don't know how to wrestle. I was like, all right, well, let's go at it.
Let's figure it out. Yeah.
Get him down, you choke him out a little bit, and then like, they'll never try that again.
Yeah, I fucking bet. I bet. But, all right, so we're gonna move on to segment.
Okay.
We call this what pisses you off. We just want to know what pisses us off today. Some things always happen that's gonna piss us off just a little bit. And this is sponsored by our ATC adult program. So if you're an adult, you want to get some wrestling in, maybe you did it in high school, maybe you're doing jiu-jitsu now, come down here to ATC, 6 to 7 o'clock. Coach Alex is going to run you guys through some wrestling. All right, so Val, you've been wanting to tell me.
I've been wanting to tell you. I didn't want to tell you earlier.
Yeah, thank you.
But
so what's pissing you off, buddy?
So what's pissing me off today is it's like when people state the obvious.
Okay.
Right?
Okay,
People state the obvious. So for anybody that knows, me and Carla, we be shipping out all kinds of packages. Okay. So today I had like 30 packages in my car.
Okay.
And, you can't take them all at once.
Okay.
So I'm like balancing these packages. I probably have like 9 packages.
Yeah.
And I'm getting pretty good at Tetrising these packages so I can carry as many at a time.
As many as you can.
And no shit, I probably had like 4 people. Wow, you have a lot of packages.
Yeah.
And I'm just getting pissed. Like Like, yeah, I know. Like, I have a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are all those yours?
Yes.
Yeah. They're
Yes.
all mine. And I'm like getting pissed because I had to run in the car like 3 different times, you know? So I'm like dropping them off.
Yeah.
And every time I'd walk through the door, wow, are those yours? Yeah. You have a lot of packages. I'm like, yeah, I know.
You're definitely like a one, like when you go get groceries, you're like a one carry kind of guy.
I'm around the neck.
Yeah.
I'm hooking everything. So yeah, I don't know. You know, like sometimes just stating the obvious.
Yeah.
It's like you don't even have. It's like walking up to a tall person and saying, "Wow, you're tall." You know, it's like, yeah, I know. Like, I've been tall my whole life.
I always get the opposite of that. Wow, you're a lot smaller than I thought you were.
Yeah, you're short.
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, no shit.
Still kick your ass.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, what's pissing me off today? We're getting ready to shoot the podcast, and I don't have the damn key to the podcast room. So I call Val and I'm like, Val, you got the key? Yeah, but I left it at home. Sick.
Awesome.
So had to get the ladder going, had to climb through the ceiling. But check this out. I had to pull them out. I had to get a extension cord. No, actually I ended up having to use the TRX bands. Kind of
Way.
tuck that thing
there,
down from right there, bro. Tuck it down, hook the door, and like
No way.
jiggle it a little bit. I'm like, PT, push it.
See, you're smarter than me because I'd have just opened it and tried to climb through.
No, bro.
Drop
I'm
to the floor.
Like I just said, I'm little.
That's
I'd
being
have
a
hurt
problem
myself.
solver, dude. That's being a problem solver right there. Good
I tell you
for
what, it's my second time.
Okay,
it's the second
I've
time I
had
had
to
it.
break into this
Get a
room a
little more
couple times.
confidence.
Well, bro, the other time it was like 9 o'clock at night. We got done with practice. I had to like clean up and stuff. My phone died. Laptop's dead. Everything's dead. I had no charger. And I'm over here freaking out here like, dude, how
lost
the
his
hell?
keys.
My keys were in here. And the door was locked. So I had to figure it out.
Good for you.
But yeah, I was pumped though.
Yeah.
When I got it, I was pumped.
First time you do, you're like, if it ever comes back to this again, I know I can do
Exactly.
this. There you go.
So Johnny, anything pissing you off today, buddy?
Pissing me off.
Anything?
Not really today.
Not today?
Just in general, though, just
Yeah.
people that have this sense of entitlement about them.
All right.
I cannot stand that. Whether it's just at the grocery store and like someone's going to put their cart away and just leaves it right there instead of returning
Just-
it all the way back. They think, I can
Yeah.
just leave it here. Someone else will get it.
Yeah.
Or someone that just thinks they're better than you because they have this or that and don't treat you the right way. Just people that have this sense of, I feel like nowadays there's a lot more of that. Than
Oh,
it used
for
to be.
sure.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's entitled and everyone thinks that like they deserve this and they should get handouts. And that's my biggest thing I can't stand.
Bro, my favorite is someone has a look. If you got like a Lamborghini or like or something like that, you could park sideways. You could take two spaces. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the ones that are,
Right.
you got a brand new, Camry.
Right.
You know what I mean?
would
Like,
say.
You know what I do
You know
to
what I
those
mean?
people?
what do you do?
I
Park right
squeeze in
next
as
to him?
fucking tight next to him
Yeah.
as I possibly can.
So they can't get out.
Yeah, just to be a dick, You want to be a dick?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
just
be a
let
dick
them
too.
know.
Just as close as you can get.
As close as I can
I
get.
love that.
I love it, dude. I love it. So Johnny, after playing college ball, you moved back home. You're now into coaching.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about a little bit earlier off the air that you start getting into real estate. With coaching, what has been your favorite parts about it? What have been the hardest parts? Kind of talk a little bit about going from being an athlete to being a coach.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I retired about 2 years ago. When I got back, I never really had this drive and this passion to for sure want to be a coach. I never knew if I wanted to get into college coaching, get into pro ball coaching. So when I first came back, I just kind of started doing some private lessons with kids, and that led to me building up my clientele a little bit, and then I got into coaching at Gorman 2 years ago.
Okay.
And so I got to kind of experience doing the team side of things versus working with kids individually in group sessions.
Okay.
And for me, it was a lot more gratifying kind of working with kids one-on-one and getting those texts from parents where it's like, little Timmy had 4 hits this weekend. I've never
Right.
seen him smile so big, and thanks for all the help, and kind of seeing the work they're putting in and them started getting results when they've been, because baseball's a tough sport, man. It's a big time mental sport where it's a lot of highs and lows, and it's a game of failure. A lot of people don't know, but like you get 10 at bats, you get out 7 times, you get 3 hits, get 3 hits out of 10 at bats, you're batting 300.
Right.
That means you failed 7 times and you're hitting, and 300 is like you're a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
What other sport can you succeed 3 out of 10 times and be considered the best in your sport?
Right.
So it's like one of those sports you're always dealing with failure. And a lot of kids struggle, like always failing, always striking out and wanting to quit. So it's like, it's a big time adversity sport like we talked about, where you got to be able to deal with failure. So like when you get those texts from those parents that the kids have been struggling, failing for a while, they're not even having fun with baseball and they're thinking about quitting, and then you see them start to turn it around and get some success.
Right.
That was pretty cool, gratifying moment for me. So I'm kind of built my clientele up now, 30, 40 kids I work with, and try to run little camps and these group things, and I'm really enjoying that right now.
What's like a big thing for you as far as like helping the kids with the mental part? Because like with wrestling, like our big thing here is like you're gonna lose, you're gonna get taken down. Like, how do you explain to a kid like you're gonna strike out? Like like that, you're gonna fail.
Mm-hmm. I think it's just that on his head. It's like letting them understand that, I'm sorry, but you're not going to get a hit every single time. As much as you want to go bat 1,000 and be the next Barry Bonds, like, you're going to have to go through some struggles and some failures, and explaining to them that, look, if you keep beating yourself up and getting down and throwing your equipment and hanging your head, do you think it's ever going to turn around for you? And like, you just keep sulking and feeling sorry for yourself, it's only going to get worse and worse. So once you realize that, like, this is part of the game, part of the game is failing, how are you going to handle that?
Yeah.
Are you gonna like, there's a whole term. I played for a coach when I was with the Cubs in spring training. Joe Madden was the coach at the time, and he would have like a little toilet thing. So like, you come into the dugout, and if you strike out or make an out, you're supposed to flush the toilet. You flush it, you forget about it, move on, rather than hang on to it, sulk on it, and like let that fester and build up. Because I'm not that great of a baseball player. I was in some of the biggest slumps of my life. Like, and you get these serious demons. It's like, are you even good enough to be playing? What the hell are you doing with your life? And it plays mind games. So when you talk to these kids and explain, like, look, you're going to fail, but like, how are you going to fail? Are you going to keep thinking about it and keep hanging on to it? Or are you going to get ready for that next at bat and have a chance to get on a hot streak?
Yeah.
And just kind of explaining the process of it's part of it. Because a lot of kids that are young feel like they shouldn't be failing. They should feel like they're invincible.
Instant gratification.
Yeah, they think they're invincible, and they're like, if I'm practicing, I should be getting hits every time up. But there's a lot of variables in baseball with a bad umpire calling bad pitches, or you hit a ball super hard, but it goes right to a guy. And it's stuff out of your control that they don't realize.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm sure wrestling helped with you for sure, because like, you know, wrestlers train their whole lives and sometimes never get what they worked for their whole lives.
Yeah.
You know, so like going in there probably as a wrestler, knowing like, hey, like I trained hard, but I don't deserve to win the match unless I try.
Yeah.
And I still might not get it.
Yeah. And it's like we talked about earlier, like you almost got to be a little, have a screw loose in the head, because it's like to just beat yourself up day in, day out on the wrestling mat, on the long distance runs, on the cross training, on the crazy dieting you have to do, and everything goes into it, leading up to this goal to win a national tournament, to win a state championship. And then, like you said, with the chances of having your dreams crushed, like I lost my last wrestling match in my high school career.
Right.
I won it as a junior. Won the TOC my senior year, and going into the state championship the weekend before in regionals, I hyperextended my elbow and pinched a nerve in the back of my neck, where like anytime I moved my head, it would shoot down my arm. And so I still won the regional and set up for the next weekend at Thomas and Mack for the state. And I won it at 71 the year before, and the kid from Reno won it at 160 the year before. And he was at 71 my senior year. And we went at it in the state championship. I lost that match.
What's his name?
Albright. Gary Albright.
Gary, yeah, he was pretty tough too.
Yeah. Because he was at that TOC. I won the TOC. We're on other sides of the bracket. And I think he ended up taking maybe 4th or something. So I didn't see him at that tournament, but knew he was a tough wrestler. And like I said, I'm not making excuses about being injured, but you had to wrestle through it. And I lost a 1 or 2 point match, but it was like that just gut-wrenching feeling of, especially knowing that was my last match ever. It's I couldn't shake that. The whole baseball season, I was thinking about that. Yeah, and it was just like one of those things. It's like, you worked your whole life. I want to be a 4-time state champ. And I got to state all 4 years. I should have won it my sophomore year. I don't know if you remember you're the next year, but my sophomore year I took fourth and I lost in double overtime. I had
nosebleeds. No, I was there. Yeah, no, I was there for that one. Yeah,
I was up by like 3 or 4 in the third, bro, and pissed it away. And
hey, Johnny was a bleeder. Johnny was a bleeder.
I don't want to say I was a bleeder. I was a good actor. I was a good actor, bro. Like one thing I'll say is like in the wrestling room. I was really good about working my butt off, eating clean. I could wrestle for 15-minute goes. And for whatever reason, I get out in the match. And I think a lot of it is I didn't wrestle year round. So I never did freestyle Greco. So like I would get in certain scrambles and just belly out because I wasn't comfortable going towards my back. And like I didn't have that year round. I just wrestled 3 months out of the year. So like with that being said, I'd get in certain matches and like I would have so much anxiety from those nerves.
Yeah.
That all the conditioning I did, I would just be gassed. And I would have to find ways to get it back. So I'd punch myself in the nose. I'd pick into my brain and show it to the ref. And I'd find a way to get my
that's
blood
your
time.
brain.
And literally, like, it got to the point where the word got out around town. I'd be wrestling in state, and, like, I would start bleeding. The whole arena's booing me because they knew that I'm just doing my thing again. But
hey, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. The coach is on the side. He just picked his nose. He's not even bleeding.
And then, like, my dad and Coach Rick, they had a strategy where they'd walk out and start spraying the mat and take their time to wipe it up and trying to buy me his nut. I'm not proud of it, but
buy you some time.
Hey, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Hey, the Russians do it. The Russians, in the Olympics all the time.
Oh, it's great. Like, that was always my worst pet peeve because I was always the kid that was in really good shape.
Right, you wanted to
keep going. I'm breaking you. Mm-hmm. And even as a coach, like we're breaking kids and because now injury time, you can take as much as you want.
Oh, really?
Take as much. You don't even have to be injured.
Literally.
You can just take as much time as you need.
Wow.
Right? So kids are finding every way out in those
Is the blood time still the same?
Blood time, there's blood time.
I want to say there's blood time still the same, but
there's
injury
blood
time.
The injury time, you can
really?
You could be getting taken down for the third time in the third period and still be winning by 2 and be like, I hurt my knee.
Right.
You know, and we're breaking the kids.
Yeah.
And I'm on the side. He's not even hurt. And like me as a coach, like I'm not telling my kid to do that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, hey, get your ass up.
It's like the football player that's faking a cramp because like their team's gas on defense and they're trying to buy time. Where
no, I was never that.
Well, I'm sorry, I was that guy.
I'm standing on the side like
because I knew I was a wrestler that I wasn't the most technical, but I was really. I felt I was explosive.
Bro, you were super athletic. You were, and then you were also gritty too. You know, like you were a hand fighting guy. Like you were pulling guys' heads down. Like you were a gritty wrestler.
If you're punching yourself in the face to give a bloody nose, you're gritty.
Yeah, you're gritty. You're gritty.
You're crazy.
I was just finding ways to like get my breath back somewhat, so I can get ready to take him down.
I love it.
So,
all right, we're gonna move on to a segment. We call this "Shot Out of a Cannon." Okay, you can either answer it one word, you can elaborate, whatever you want to do, however you want to answer these questions. This here today is sponsored by ATC's high school program. Okay, here at ATC, if you're in high school and you want to, like Johnny was talking about, you want to wrestle year round. You want to learn freestyle Greco, you want to do folk style, you want to go to the best tournaments in the country, and maybe your school doesn't allow that for you. Here at ATC, you come in our high school program, we'll get you guys there. All right, so this shot out of cannon. Johnny, sauna or cold plunge?
Cold plunge. I got one at the house.
Do you?
Yeah.
You maniac. See, yeah, you are a maniac.
No, I love.
You're the first ever.
I love the sauna too. I just haven't made enough money to buy one yet. But like right now, getting into the cold plunge, I did it this summer. It's also because I spent an absurd amount of money on it. That probably helped. But I did it 77 straight days without missing.
77.
Yeah. Does
it get easier?
Yeah, it does. I think so. Like I'm weird where I have to. My strategy is I'll play a song, right? I'll get a song set up for about 3.5, 4 minutes. And then I can't just tiptoe in. I got to completely submerge under. And then I just sit there and I close my eyes and I just listen to the
like
song.
You're on a beach or something.
And I try to meditate, whatever you want to call it.
What song?
I usually get something like light and kind of easy going just to relax to, you know?
Yeah.
But then I know when that song's over, I get out. But more of the feeling you feel after is like, because I was grinding all summer, early mornings, doing baseball lessons in the heat, and I swear my body felt great all summer. And
really?
I credit to helping with the inflammation, helping with kind of that energy boost it gives you, and you kind of did crave it.
You know,
and
you're
it's
already in a
easy-
sauna too.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's easy in Vegas when it's summertime because like you're in the 40-degree water, but it's 100 outside, so you feel that sun on you. And then when you get out, you just de-thaw right away from the sun. Like this winter's been a little different. I haven't been as consistent.
Is
this
it inside
winter.
your house or outside
It's
your house?
outside. It's outside. So I did it 2 days ago or yesterday, I think. And it was like 57 degrees at the time outside.
Yeah.
And it was 47 in. And I got in, and it was tough. Because
Yeah.
like you get out and you're used to warming up right away. But when it's only 57 now, it's a little tougher.
Still cold.
See these guys, you see him and Alex in the cold plunge. It is
Straight freaking out.
Suck
the
it.
most
Suck at it.
most comedic thing you'll ever see.
Bro, we had one time we did our we do our 5 a.m. trainings.
Yeah.
And after our 5 a.m.s, we're like, all right, we got a whole bunch of fucking trash cans, bro, and filled them up with ice, and every kid did it.
Really?
Me and Alex were just in a full panic.
Well, because the kids are like, hey, you're doing this with us, right? And we're like, I'll do it.
He can do it.
You
Yeah,
know, I'm
he's-
from Montana,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
like I'm.
You're good.
Cool.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah,
You're good.
Yeah.
You Nap and Alex are on the side, like, nope, I ain't doing it.
We're
And
tropical
they're-
peoples.
They're talking. The kids are talking shit the whole time.
Oh.
Oh no, you're getting in it. You're
Oh,
getting
bro.
in it.
Oh,
You
bro.
can't say no.
I was
They're getting
no,
ready
yeah, I
for
had to
that.
do it. It was a miserable 3 minutes. Miserable. All right, cauliflower ear or no cauliflower ear?
I don't know if you remember, but my senior year, I started to get it. And
Okay.
I knew I was going to Arizona to play baseball. And
Okay.
I'm like, I can't get cauliflower as a baseball
Do
player.
you have any? Let me see.
No, so I started wearing headgear
Yeah?
every second in practice
Yeah?
after that. But I had the swelling start coming in where it's sensitive to touch. I got really, really close to getting it. But my whole thing is like, I tell people, if you walk into a bar, I don't care if that dude's 5'2" or 7'2". If he's got cauliflower ear, walk the other way.
He knows something you don't.
Don't mess with that dude. Like
Yeah.
that is a staple of that dude will whoop your ass.
Would you get,
That's what
would you
we're
get
saying.
clowned as a baseball player if you had cauliflower ear?
I don't know if I'd get clowned because you would hope that they would know what cauliflower ear means.
Yeah.
But like I think it was just a matter of like I feel like as
Want
a
it.
fighter or as a wrestler, that's your look. As
Yeah.
a baseball player, that's not necessarily your look. And
You had a
call me a
mullet.
pretty boy, whatever you want to say. Maybe I just didn't want it for that reason. But if I would have went the wrestling route, yeah, I would have been pounding my ears on the
Yeah,
mat
for
for
sure.
purpose.
We
To try
give
to,
Nap
you
shit
know.
all the time because he doesn't have any.
You never got it.
Not even
huh?
in college, bro. Not even in college. Not even
Do
close.
you wear headgear a lot or in practice and stuff?
I don't feel like I mean, I feel like in high school, I think I did because I did it more to like cut weight. I don't know for whatever reason. I felt like
Right,
I had
feel
my
like
headgear on.
sweating
I
more.
was sweating more, but I don't know. I just never got it. Too
Yeah.
fast. That's what I always say. Too fast.
Well, you just say that I was never getting my head slammed on the mat, so I was always,
Yeah.
forcing
Oh,
the
yeah.
thing on people.
Exactly. All right, you being a Vegas guy, let the people know. Las Vegas Strip or downtown Las Vegas?
You know what? That's changed. I would say now the strip. I
Okay.
think back in the day when I was a little younger and would
Yeah.
go out more, it's a lot cheaper to do some fun stuff
Yeah.
downtown.
A lot
but
crazier.
I think now that you're a little bit older, you can experience the nicer restaurants that open up and the cool lounges and cool places to check out on the strip. So I'd say strip now.
I like that. For competitions, are you a hype music guy or are you like a calm music guy?
That's also changed. When I was a wrestler, it was always hype music.
Okay.
It's always I heard the other dude, Whitaker came out. Can't Be Touched, Roy Jones.
Oh, okay. Roy Jones?
I was such a weirdo. Like I had my playlist for every wrestling match. You start jump roping, you hit this song, and right when it's like you're on deck, Can't Be Touched has to come on, and that's where you go into the match. So
I love
It's
that.
always upbeat, more rap or rock, like upbeat
right.
music. Now it's a little bit more chill, kind of like some more like Odessa, Rufus Du Sol, kind
Okay.
of more vibey type
Okay.
stuff like that.
Okay, I like that. Now, this is a good question for you. Which league has the best athletes? Is it the NFL, the NBA, or the MLB? Which league has the best athletes?
Man, that's a tough question because I get into this talk a lot with people of like, it depends how you define athlete. And a lot of people can say an athlete is someone who can run faster, jump higher, that's more athletic, more agility side to side. And then I was always someone that says an athlete is someone that you can stick in any sport and he's going to hold his own.
Yep.
And so like, if I try to go play football, basketball, I'll hold my own, but I'm going to get blown away by NBA, NFL players, right?
Yeah.
But most NBA, NFL players, you try to get them to hit a 90-mile-per-hour fastball, they have zero chance. Or you try to get them to throw a strike, they can't. So it's like, it just depends. And baseball is more of a skill sport, like hand-eye coordination, not just athleticism where you got to be super fast or be able to jump high. So it just depends on how you define athleticism. I think that NFL players, most of them, like the skill position guys, they can get out on a basketball court. They could probably get on a baseball field and hold their own. So I'll probably say NFL and not go with MLB on that one.
All right. I like that one. I like that one.
You get some tubbies in MLB. I gotta say there are some fat dudes that play in MLB can still get away with it because they can hit, play first base or whatever. But you don't see a lot of fat guys in NFL outside of like linemen. So.
And even those guys are running like 4.6s.
Yeah. And they're benching 500 pounds. They can break you. So.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let me ask you this. NIL deals or no NIL deals for college athletes?
Well, I mean, I'm bitter because it wasn't around when I was in college. And now I'm seeing like these guys get money and cashing in now. And so I'm bitter towards it because I wish I could have got that. But I don't know, man. I think that it's causing some issues for sure. I think that I don't know how it is in the wrestling world, but like watching college football a lot and stuff, it's a lot of these freshmen don't have chances to play as their freshman year now because everyone's going to the portal and buying the best players to transfer over.
Right.
And so it makes it unfair for these mid-tier schools, I feel like, and you have your LSUs and your Bamas and your big schools that have all the booster money that can just buy the best players to NIL. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm pumped for all the athletes that are, getting compensated for the amount of fans they bring to stadiums and stuff and finally getting paid, which they should be.
Right.
But it is making it, I think, less parity in college sports. Like you said, I don't know how the wrestling world is if Penn State and Iowa, some of these bigger schools are able to give NIL money out.
Bro, listen, I mean, obviously, people who wrestle, like, never were you ever really making money in this.
No.
You got Jordan Burroughs, maybe Gable, like, maybe those guys, like, those guys. But now, there's a freshman, don't get me wrong, this is probably one of the best incoming freshmen coming in this year. Turned down like a $2.5 million deal to go to Penn State. Wow. So who knows what these guys are actually making, Right. Like I remember when RBY came into Vegas and I was asking him, I was like, how much is NIL changing the game? He's like, bro, this is a whole other world. Like you got guys like Gable Steveson going back to go wrestle in college because in my opinion, for wrestling, college is the pros. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that is our pros. The NCAA tournament is the biggest tournament in the U.S. for wrestling. It's not the U.S. Open. Like the NCAA tournament is a beast. That's our World Series.
Right.
So like I think it's cool. I like having those guys in there. Be able to make some money, especially for wrestling, because never happened before.
Yeah, and I feel like all those Big Ten programs where wrestling's big, they're packing out those gyms every single night. And like they're getting the fans, so those guys should be compensated.
The craziest thing about it is like, and this is kind of the bad part of it, is like you said, you got these big schools that were paying for these big athletes. Arizona State had 2 All-Americans last year, and Iowa paid them, I would guess, more money, and now they're starting on Iowa. So you just took...
Well, theirs was their grad year. That's what's cool, though. See, theirs was their grad year, so they couldn't go back to theirs. But still, though, I mean...
The loyalty isn't there anymore.
Right.
Like, you're not loyal to a specific program like you would 10 years ago.
Well, and that's the thing, too, I tell people is you guys both wrestled together, right, in college?
Yeah.
So it's like when you commit to a college, you're making a 4-year commitment. Because
100%.
if after your freshman year, if you wanted to transfer, you're sitting out.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to sit out. Now it's like you're almost going year by year where it's like if I go to a smaller school to start and ball out, I might end up at a big-time Big Ten school next year. You're not making that 4-year commitment.
Right.
And which is
kind of cool, which is for the ones, like I said, for the ones that may not be ready, maybe you're not ready to go to a big D1 school yet, but maybe you get put in the right positions where in a year or two, you kind of get that opportunity.
Set yourself up and you grow and then you can go get paid.
Yeah, absolutely. So this one, I know you're a UFC fan. I know you went to the Noche event. Now I'm going to ask you if some major league fighters were to fight. Okay. Major League Baseball players were to fight. All right, so if Big Papi, David Ortiz, fought Barry Bonds, who would win in a UFC fight?
Oh, man, I have no idea. I mean, I think Barry's a little older, and he's last I've seen him, he's slimmed down.
Let's say both of them in their prime. Both of those guys in their prime. Scrapping.
I'd probably say Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds?
I mean, he was on the good stuff and
Man.
like that.
Man,
He was on the
head,
good stuff.
you know what I mean?
I'm saying he's probably a little more agile than Big Papi. Big Papi's a little thicker, so I'd probably go Barry Bonds in that one.
Big Papi probably had a heavy right hand.
Oh,
though.
yeah. I wouldn't
right.
mess with either of those dudes.
These two are just massive human beings. John Carlos Stanton or Aaron Judge?
You know what, man? I was at a wedding with Aaron Judge back in the day, and on the dance floor with that dude. I'm like, that has got to be one of the biggest dudes I've ever seen.
Massive human being.
Same thing. They're both around. I think Judge might be an inch taller. He's thicker. He's maybe 270. Stan might be more like 250, 255, so more lean. But I would say I'd give the edge to Stan, I think, just because Judge seems like the nicest dude ever, man.
Just like a sweetheart.
When I've talked to him, he's a good dude. And like Stan, I feel like a little bit more agile, a little lighter on his feet. Might be able to get him.
All right, I like that. All right. We got a Vegas legend, Bryce Harper or Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, Bryce Harper, man.
Think so?
Yeah, he's got a mean streak to him. I don't know if you remember, I played against him in high school here and saw him kind of get heated a little bit, and then
He's always down to fight.
Yeah, he had when he was coming up, he was only in the league a couple years, I think, when he was still with the Nationals.
Yeah.
When Strickland threw at him and he charged him out. And I don't know, you look up Strickland, I think his first that's a fighter.
I was like, Sean Strickland?
Sean.
Oh, okay.
So maybe it was Scott Strickland. He was a pitcher, and dude was like a country boy, like big, massive dude. Threw at Harper at 99 miles per hour, and Harper charged him out, chucked his helmet at him, and like started trying to throw some punches as a probably 22-year-old grown man. So like that gave me some respect that he's and same thing. Ohtani seems like the nicest dude ever, so I definitely got to go Harper there.
I like that one. That one. Let's give it up for the Vegas guy. Love that.
Yep.
Love that, brother. Well, that ends our shot of Canada segment, bro. Love it, bro. So, Johnny, we're getting ready to end our podcast here. What advice would you give to young athletes that whether they want to wrestle or whether they want to play baseball, or whether they want to do both, and that want to, you've been at the highest level, bro. You've been able to play at the World Series. 1%, maybe less than 1% of guys ever get that opportunity. So what advice would you give to young athletes that want to be great at whatever the heck they want to be great at? What would be your greatest advice?
Yeah, I would say, like we said earlier, play as many sports as you want to start off. Like, play as many sports as you want until it's time to pick one. And like, for instance, you're in high school playing multiple sports, and then you get offered a scholarship to go wrestle in college. You don't have any other offers for other sports. Okay, you're going to wrestle, and then when you get to college, that's going to be a year-round sport. Yeah. So play as many sports as you can. And my biggest thing that my dad kind of instilled in me was setting goals. And for me, like at a young age, whether it was a wrestling tournament I had coming up, of writing something down on a note card, putting that in my mirror so I'm looking at it every day. And the power of setting goals for me was huge, because I don't know about you, but when you set a goal and you look at it every day, when you get home from a tough practice and you're tired, it's like, am I going to turn on Fortnite right now, or am I going to hit 100 push-ups before I go to bed?
Right.
Like, always looking to do something extra to get that goal, because there's a lot of times, especially the baseball, and I'm sure wrestling too, where there are two guys that are so equal talent-wise, same body type, they're both great on their feet, they both are okay on top, they're both good at getting out on bottom, but like, what's going to separate that guy? And it comes down to work ethic and drive, right? Yeah. So like the dudes that set goals, I think that in the sport of wrestling we talked about, man, it's going to teach you to just create this level of toughness where you don't let adversity affect you. You learn to overcome, you learn to push forward, you learn to set goals, and then that's just going to set you up in the real world, where if you don't end up wrestling in college, you're not going to be the type of guy that's always feeling sorry for yourself,
right?
Looking for handouts, blaming other people, and you're going to take accountability and go out and get it done. So I would say just the power of setting goals, the power of establishing that work ethic at a young age. So by the time you get to high school, someone doesn't have to hold your hand. Like, you're ready to do it.
We've had people on the podcast before. One of the owners of Phase One, and they kind of been talking about specializing around middle school time. Mm-hmm. What's your opinion on that? What do you think? Like, do you think guys should have it down to one or two sports by middle school time, or do you think that you can be good enough playing all three? What's your opinion on it?
Yeah, well, it's being a baseball player, it's different for me, because back in the day, the travel club baseball was getting going, but it's nothing like it is nowadays. Nowadays, there's 40 different teams in town, and so a lot of these parents get caught up in like, if I don't play him year round, he's going to get passed up by all these kids that are playing year round. So, but what I combat that with is like, if I'm going and playing football, I'm going to wrestling for 3 months in the winter, like I'm still getting bigger, faster, stronger, and I enjoy that because that gives you that little reset. That gives you that little break where I almost got burnt out. Like that's another reason I'm so big on this is when I was, I think in 6th or 7th grade, I was playing travel baseball, always driving from the Northwest to Henderson for practice every night. Came home one day and was like, Dad, I don't think I want to play baseball anymore. Like I'm getting bored of this. I'm getting sick of it. Yeah. And he's like, all right, well, let's worry about football coming up here in the next month and focus on football. And thank God for that because I went out and played football and I almost had this reset and then I was hungry to get back into baseball. So like going through that personal experience makes me want to say, look, I don't think you need to specialize at a certain age. I think that if you're good enough to play them at a high level, then keep doing it. If you're like a wrestler and you're just, playing baseball for fun in the spring and you're terrible at baseball by the time you get to 8th grade and you got something wrestling, then let's specialize in wrestling. But if you can do both at a high level, I think do it as long as you can. Because I think they all cross over at some point. And for me, like wrestling was that mental toughness. I was getting that mental toughness of grinding every single day. I'm getting core strength. You get a lot of grip strength that translates to baseball. Yep. So I still got that transition where I thought it helped my baseball game out too.
You hear that, baseball players? You want to get stronger, tougher, better. You come and wrestle. You go get some grip. You come get some grip from wrestling, man. I love that.
Knapp was going to be in the NBA at one point in his life.
I know. He's got a 3-point shot, and
I quit. I quit wrestling, bro, in 6th grade to go play basketball.
Really?
Quit wrestling. Told my dad, I don't want to do it anymore. Over it, don't want to do it anymore. And for me, it was less about wrestling. I think it was more about the whole stigma, especially back then, of cutting weight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I didn't really cut weight my junior, senior, and that was the most fun I ever had. Mm-hmm. I quit to go play basketball. I remember I took a whole season off, and I remember, I was 3 games in, and I'm not playing. I'm a 6th grader. I'm not playing. I'm freaking 4'11". You know what I mean? I'm a tiny guy out there, but I loved basketball. It was fun to me. And I remember just being in the middle of the season and watching wrestling and then going to this. I'm like, man, I liked being great at something. I enjoyed being, and then so it made me kind of realize okay, I actually do like wrestling. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's certain parts of it that I didn't like, but I actually do like wrestling. And having that little break from it in my 6th grade year, I think made me understand that was when I kind of for sure hey, I'm gonna go be a Division I wrestler. That was my kind of mindset after that.
You step away from something and it kind of you realize that true love and passion you do have for something. Yeah. Being away from it for a little bit, you're like, damn, even though there are parts of it that suck, that thrill of, getting your hand raised at the end of the match and knowing all the work you put in paid off, there's not a whole lot of sports you get that one-on-one gratification. Where it's you put the work in and you win a big tournament or something, it's it's a good feeling.
Yeah. Was there any part of baseball that you didn't like?
Well, it's a much slower paced game, like wrestling, football. Football, I loved how every play involved hitting someone. I played outfield in college and pro ball, so there's a lot of standing around, and that took some getting used to when I first got into it. But no, I would say just how it's a little slower pace. That bugged me a little bit growing up, and you start to get used to that. No, besides that.
Luckily you had wrestling and football to kind of combat that.
Yeah. You're talking about earlier about the sports and made me think about, so at Gorman, we would, I'd get into wrestling season around October, whatever, and the baseball players would still be training in the fall and the winter, and that was a lot of their conditioning and cardio, and they're running suicides and having to push around a tractor. And I just remember guys at the lunchroom, I'd still sit with the baseball players, and they'd be like, dude, you're so lucky you wrestle. You have no idea what you're missing in baseball. And I'm like, really? You think what you're doing right now on the baseball
field
I'm doing is tougher than what we're doing in the wrestling room right now? And I've been eating rice cakes for 6 straight days cutting weight, bro. I haven't had any sort of protein. I'm a pale ghost right now and still doing 1,000 push-ups at practice. And you think that doing some sprints on the baseball field's tougher right now. They don't get it. They don't, unless you're a wrestler and unless you're in that room, And you're just drenched in sweat, 2-hour practice, and it's nothing but sprints and push-ups and pull-ups, and it's like they don't understand of how tough it is to be a wrestler at a high level.
Man,
so it's like it's just a lot of respect to anyone who wrestles and anyone who can stick it out, because it's definitely not for everyone. But if you're able to be a wrestler, like I said, you have a certain mental toughness about you that's going to take you far in life, I think.
Man, Johnny, I love it, bro. I appreciate you coming down too and having a conversation with us, man. Dude, it's been great to have, because our little guys are gonna listen to this, man. They're gonna get experiences. Even a lot of our parents, man. It's cool for them to get different perspectives, because everyone kind of has their own, ideas and views on it, man. So it's been great to have you, bro. And so actually,
what do we love?
Oh, you want to do that real quick?
I mean, we do it. You're gonna skip over it.
All right, we're gonna close this out.
All right,
this guy always
we're gonna close this
stuff,
out.
PT.
Sorry, I was gonna give this. All right, you're right. All right, one more segment.
One more.
We're gonna close it out. Bob Rouser, what do you love, buddy?
I'm starting to love the sweater weather.
The what?
The sweater weather.
Yeah.
Leather.
I like your sweater, by the
leather.
way. A little mustard green.
The sweater weather.
Yeah.
I'm from Montana. I don't like it cold.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to bundle.
Yeah.
Right, with a stocking hat and a winter jacket and stuff. But I do enjoy walking around in sweats. A nice, good sweater, I
love that.
Being able to practice in sweats in a sweater, I'm starting to enjoy it. I love that.
I did love that. You know what I love? I got into it this year. I love golf.
You took mine.
I don't know if you know. I don't know if you noticed, but I went golfing this morning.
Oh, there you go.
Okay,
there you go.
And I suck at it. Yeah. I absolutely suck at it. But I like being outside. Mm-hmm. I like shooting the shit. Mm-hmm. And I like when I get one good shot out of every, 5. So
brings you back.
Dude, I love golf.
Brings you back.
I love golf. Did you love that too?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, both of you, I think it's a good group right here, because both of your guys' things are spot on with me too.
All right.
It has to be. I get hot so easily, so like when this time of weather comes around,
beautiful.
You don't have to turn the AC, open up the windows. It's in the 50s, like you said, light hoodie. It's all you need. I love that too. And then golf for me is actually like when I retire from baseball, I still have that competitive drive, right?
Yeah.
And I had to replace that with something. So it's golf. I golf once, twice a week, and it's one of those one-on-one with yourself competitions. Like, all right, I shot a 82 today. I got to get an 81 the next time.
Yeah.
And you hit one nice eagle or birdie, and that brings you back the next round.
When you're swinging, are you bringing the power behind the swing like you would a baseball bat?
Yeah, he's got the power. Look at his forearms.
I can hit a ball far, but I can't always hit it straight. But I can hit it far. And I'm the same way. I just like being outside. So like when you're golfing or just going through a hike on your own, whatever, like being outside in nature, and golf hits all that for me. So
let's go golf with Tommy.
Let's do it.
Let's go do it one day.
Don't expect much from Tommy, but
don't expect much from me. Don't expect much from me. It's just a hangout time. Yeah, it's just a hanging out time. Oh, real quick while we're on. Hey, I wasn't sure if you're a large or extra large.
Large.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I got you a nice little ATC shirt here,
Appreciate
bro.
that.
Got you that, brother.
Definitely be repping this.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm going to get back out soon, too, to roll around with you guys and get a little sweat in one of these nights.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Well, hey, guys, that's another episode of Shoot Your Shot. Subscribe, follow, like, leave a comment, guys. Hey, we're going to keep shooting our shot. You go shoot yours. We'll see you guys later.